Welcome to Tech Blueprint, a window that lets you know the latest technology news in the world. As we all know, due to changes in the external environment, wafer foundries like TSMC and Samsung have successively lost the ability to freely ship to the outside world. At the same time, the United States has further tightened regulations related to the semiconductor industry, forcing the global chip supply chain to shift to the United States. As China's chip industry continues to improve and achieve breakthroughs, a situation unexpected by Trump has begun to emerge. Despite the United States' vigorous promotion of localization in the semiconductor industry, approximately 80% of chip products produced by American companies still require overseas outsourcing. A disruption in external supply would have devastating consequences. It is understood that the U.S. semiconductor industry was already experiencing a hollowing out before Biden took office. Except for chip design, patent applications, and software and technical services, which remain in the United States, the chip manufacturing process is essentially monopolized by Asian companies. TSMC, in particular, has almost completely monopolized advanced chip orders in the United States and is the largest partner of American chip design companies. Noting the hollowing out of the U.S. chip industry, former U.S. President Biden launched a $53 billion chip incentive plan to support overseas chip giants in building physical chip factories in the United States. After Trump took office, the United States began using tariffs to stimulate the localization of its semiconductor industry. It's not difficult to see that the two presidents' approaches to the semiconductor sector were highly similar. The reason is simple: if American chips can no longer be manufactured domestically, they will likely face supply disruptions from their external supply chains amidst increasingly intense geopolitical competition. Some might ask, isn't the United States the primary instigator of these supply disruptions? Why should they worry about being cut off from chip suppliers by companies in other countries? In fact, this is closely related to the current international situation. If the United States chip foundry channels are located in countries like Taiwan and South Korea, the risk of supply disruptions in the event of future geopolitical conflicts is extremely high. To mitigate this risk, the U.S. government has called on global semiconductor companies to invest and build factories in the United States, which has become the best solution. For example, under pressure from the United States, TSMC has decided to invest $165 billion in the United States to build advanced chip factories. Even advanced 3 nanometers and 2 nanometers chip processors have been decided by their senior management to be produced in U.S. factories. It's clear that the U.S.'s series of regulatory measures and factory construction subsidies are intended to pressure global chip companies to establish foundries in the U.S. So, what are the current results? According to data from a statistical agency showing current global chip manufacturing demand, required capacity, and surplus of vacancy ratios, 82% of U.S. chip manufacturing needs still require overseas foundries. Trump likely didn't anticipate that after 6 years of semiconductor stimulus programs, the US's chip foundry capacity gap would remain so significant. Not only is the US unable to achieve self-sufficiency in chips, but in most areas, it still relies on foundries in Taiwan to meet its production needs. Meanwhile, while mainland China faces bottlenecks in high-end chips, it has gradually achieved surplus chip foundry capacity by accumulating production capacity for mature process chips. For now, the US-China competition in the chip sector appears to be set to continue for some time, and Taiwan's chip foundry industry has become a focal point for both sides. The United States is concerned that the Taiwan issue could trigger a chip foundry crisis in the United States, hence its repeated pressure on TSMC to relocate its advanced chip production chain to the US mainland. Meanwhile, mainland China has gradually seized the initiative. The rapid development of mature process chips is proceeding simultaneously with the technological breakthroughs in advanced chips. The longer this progresses, the more favorable it will be for the domestic chip industry's technological breakthroughs. At present, the hollowing out of the US chip industry cannot be reversed in a short period of time, so Trump's radical semiconductor controls only confirm their concerns. In short, if Taiwan's foundries were to cease supply, the consequences for US chip giants would be disastrous. The first-mover advantage built by companies like NVIDIA and AMD in the advanced chip sector would also be hindered by capacity constraints. In contrast, mainland Chinese companies have already addressed the potential for future chip supply disruptions by developing a localized chip industry chain. As a result of this trade-off, Chinese companies' demand for US chip products will continue to decline. Thus, a situation unexpected to Trump has emerged, and the chip industry rationing plans of two US presidents have had little effect. For a long time to come, US chips will continue to be manufactured in Taiwan. A supply disruption would have disastrous consequences. What are your thoughts on this? Feel free to leave a comment and discuss.